This is CBS.
Coming up on tonight's 10 p.m. report, 4 investigations that are underway in 3 Minnesota communities. In Scott County, an investigation is underway into the conduct of prosecutor Kathleen Morris and whether some children may have been murdered there.
In Meeker County, an investigation into an alleged puppy mill led to a raid today near the town of Dassel.
And in Minneapolis, an investigation will soon begin into whether minorities are getting their fair share of government contract money.
Those stories and tonight's cover story on working women coming up on the 10 p.m. report.
Before Cub Foods came to town, things were reasonably calm in the supermarket business. Oh, every once in a while, someone made a ripple with a special price on one thing or another. But Cub offers the lowest overall prices every day. Lower than any supermarket, lower than any warehouse market, lower than anyone. So any claim of lower prices other than Cub Foods simply doesn't hold water.
Seiko captures a golden era for women, the channeled look for uninterrupted impact. A rich, rich weaving of opulent texture. An interlocking of elegance and style. And the brilliant touch only a diamond can give. At Seiko, great technology inspires great design. Seiko watches and clocks at your authorized dealer.
Available at fine jewelry and department stores.
For the next 30 seconds, Burger King will conduct a test of your appetite alert system. Right now, Burger King restaurants in your area are offering the King Combo. A plain broiled Whopper fixed your way. Large order of crisp golden fries. And an ice cold Pepsi. The King Combo. All for $1.99. To complete this test, please report to Burger King.
Serving and informing the Twin Cities for 4 decades. This is WCCO Television, Minneapolis, St. Paul. And now, Dave Moore, Pat Miles, Mike Fairborn, and Mark Rosen bring you Channel 4's 10 p.m. report.
Good evening, everyone. In Scott County tonight, questions and investigations continue to mount following the dismissal of sex abuse charges against 22 people.
Dave, questions into exactly why those charges were dismissed and investigations into both the gruesome tale of child murders and also the county prosecutor's conduct. Mike Strand reports.
Allegations of pornography and murder in Scott County have prompted state investigators to devote 4 agents to the case. Bureau of Criminal Apprehension officials say they'll likely have to interview the children who reportedly witnessed the slayings in order to clarify just what happened. Ironically, they are the same children who prosecutor Kathleen Morris sought to protect when she dismissed sex abuse cases against 21 adults on Monday. BCA officials say they'd preferred not to reopen the kids' emotional wounds, but see little choice.
Well, we don't know where to look right now. We hope to be able to determine if these things did occur, that we're going to be able to find out where the bodies are. We are treating it as if there is something wrong there, and we hope to find out what that is.
For the moment, the Scott County investigation remains a state and local concern. But FBI officials are monitoring the probe and may enter if charges of child pornography are confirmed. Meantime, Morris's conduct as county attorney is under scrutiny by a jury of her peers. Officials of the Lawyers' Professional Responsibility Board say they have begun an investigation of Morris based on an unspecified number of complaints from unnamed sources. But authorities confirmed that more than one complaint was made about Morris's own actions. Board members can decide to punish Morris privately or even put her on probation. And if further discipline is warranted, they can even submit their findings to the state Supreme Court for possible disbarment. Kathleen Morris could not be reached tonight for further comment. Mike Strand, WCCO Television News, Minneapolis.
Donald Buchanan, who was suspended from his job as Scott County Sheriff's deputy when he was charged with sexual abuse, says he will be offered that job back next Monday. However, Buchanan says it is unlikely that his family will remain in Jordan. And Terry Morganson says he's been offered his old job as county appraiser. He says he's considering whether to return, but regardless is determined to remain in Jordan. An investigation in Meeker County led sheriff's deputies and humane officers to a home near Dassel today. There, they confiscated more than 6 dozen dogs. Authorities had received anonymous complaints that the animals were being neglected. Officials said a few of the dogs will have to be destroyed, but that most appeared to be well fed. The owners had been breeding and selling the animals to brokers and pet stores. Most of the dogs were Lhasa Apsos, which sell for up to $200. Charges against the owners are unlikely. Authorities say the family of 3 was just looking for some extra income and that they are not animal haters.
An investigation is about to begin in Minneapolis, where today a city council committee approved an outside audit of the city's $32 million program to assist minority and women-owned businesses. Several reports this year, including one by WCCO's I-Team, have highlighted abuses and outright fraud in these programs designed to give minority firms a piece of the pie. Dave Nimmer has more.
City officials estimate there are as many as 400 businesses owned by minorities or women eligible for set-aside funds on certain construction projects in Minneapolis. The audit is to include an examination of the city's administration of the program, as well as a look at the company's books.
It's the first step to get a handle on whether or not the women and minority business participation in this city on these contracts have been real, or have they been pass-throughs or fronts for other organizations.
I'm confident that a decent, honest audit fraught with integrity will basically show, unfortunately, there were severe abuses.
Edwards estimates that more than 3/4 of set-aside money went to businesses fronting for white-owned firms. And although he's accused the city of foot-dragging and dealing with abuses, he was encouraged by the committee action today.
I think it's a giant step for the city compared to where they were a year ago.
The funding for the special audit still has to be approved by the Ways and Means Committee and the full council. And then the task will be to find an auditing firm whose work and results would be credible within the city's minority communities. Dave Nimmer, WCCO Television News in Minneapolis.
A dispute between a minority group and some farmers was aired tonight in Medina. Representatives of the University of Minnesota met with about 24 farmers who say they are upset about a university program which teaches Hmong refugees how to grow crops. The farmers complain that the Hmong growers can sell those crops cheaper since they are subsidized by the university. However, U officials say most of the Hmong crops are sold through a broker to avoid undercutting farmers. They say they are just trying to teach the Hmong families to become self-sufficient.
No sooner have General Motors workers in America approved a work contract than Canada's 36,000 workers struck 13 plants there, charging that the company's asking for more concessions than the workers had to give up in 1982. Very soon, workers in the St. Paul Ford plant will be asked to vote on a tentative contract approved today in Detroit. Outside Stamford, Connecticut, this morning, a 20-car eastbound Amtrak work train rear-ended a Conrail freight car. 6 Amtrak crew members injured. Charges are pending against a 19-year-old, one of 2 people still hospitalized after their car slammed into a concrete barrier in Anoka early this morning following a high-speed chase. Pat?
Joan Grow Senate campaign brought one of the party's big names to Minnesota today. We'll have the story in just a moment.
Coast to Coast Hardware presents the wrong family doing a little redecorating, using the family furniture to get to the tough spots. Doesn't everybody? Not when the Costco step deck is on sale at Coast to Coast. Look at that paint run, and at the price they paid. At Coast, our soft touch interior latex is only $9.99. 50 colors in flat or semi-gloss. Maybe it's time the wrongs got it right.
We're Coast to Coast.
It's fall sale time.
And we can help you.
I've tried. Put savings in one bank. Tried to watch the rates. Checking's another story. Wish that money could earn some interest. Credit cards, who knows how many you really need. Even had a broker do my money market. Where'd that leave me? I thought I was being smart. But the system isn't.
Introducing the Citibank financial account. All you need, all in one place. A checking account that pays high interest, even tax-free. All the best ways to save. All insured, all with high rates. One card, good for charging purchases and getting cash from your checking. A Citibank financial account representative, on call 24 hours a day. And one monthly statement that sums it all up. It's time you beat the system. Call 1-800-645-4100. The financial account from Citibank. The most bank for your money.
If everybody in your life was healthy all the time, you'd never have to worry. But people do have problems. Health problems. Emotional problems. So where do you turn? Now there's Medformation. When you have a health question or want to find a doctor or just need a little help staying healthy, call 874-4444 for Medformation, one of the loving arms of Abbott Northwestern Hospital.
Joan Grove's campaign to unseat Senator Rudy Boschwitz got a big name boost today. It came from Senator Edward Kennedy, who appeared at a $100 a plate luncheon.
And who also met with some of Fritz Mondale's major contributors, telling them that Mondale is closing the gap with Ronald Reagan. Karen Boris has details.
Senator Kennedy reportedly told a private meeting of Mondale backers that the Minnesotan is now within 10 points of President Reagan in enough states to win, that the gap is closing quickly, as expected, in the industrial Northeast. Not expected is the strong Mondale showing in the Pacific Northwest and California.
That the Mondale campaign is on the move. In many respects, the debate the other evening with Mr. Reagan was like the 1960 debate between Kennedy and Nixon. After that debate, people paid attention to the issues.
Kennedy campaigned for DFL Senate candidate Joan Grove, part of a 22-state tour aimed at winning the 6 seats Democrats need to regain control of the Senate. Grove is in the top 5 in terms of priority, and now thought to be the woman with the best chance to win. Kennedy urged Grove to continue her attacks on Republican Rudy Boschwitz's record, calling the incumbent Rubber Stamp Rudy.
All he does in the Senate is close his eyes, hold his nose, and vote the way the White House tells him.
The Grove campaign has now raised $1.3 million and plans to raise another $500,000 in the next 3 weeks. Yesterday, the Democratic Senate Committee, which has already given the campaign nearly $250,000, decided to raise another $200,000, which will put her campaign total at $1.8 million. Karen Boris, WCCO Television News, Minneapolis.
The arms race has been a key issue in the presidential race, and there is a development tonight sure to come up during Sunday's debate between Mr. Reagan and Fritz Mondale. It's an interview of Soviet President Konstantin Chernenko. In the interview, Chernenko says if the U.S. were to demonstrate interest on agreement in one of the key areas of arms control, relations between the two countries could be vastly improved. Chernenko singled out 4 issues to be resolved. He wants a ban on any new weapons in space. He also wants a freeze on the existing level of nuclear weapons. Chernenko wants both countries to ratify old test ban treaties and a pledge from the United States of no first use. At the White House, reaction was cautious and conciliatory.
When the Soviet Union is prepared to move from public exchanges to private negotiations and concrete agreements, they will find us ready.
Chernenko's comments came from an interview with the Washington Post. Pat?
A very different publication may cause some problems for U.S. foreign policy. It is a manual that was prepared by the CIA and then distributed to rebels in Nicaragua. The manual tells the Contras to kidnap opponents, destroy police and military installations, and, quote, neutralize political opposition. Several congressmen are calling for an investigation. They claim the manual defies a presidential order forbidding the U.S. from engaging in terrorism. Because of financial problems, the weather radar service on KTCI Channel 17 is going out of business now. The Department of Transportation, which has funded the 12-hour-a-day weather radar programming, says it can no longer afford the service. The news has upset thousands of pilots and weather buffs, though, who depend on the radar. Many of them have written letters to complain about the situation. Well, they'll just have to watch
that at home all the time.
Mike Fairborn instead.
Well, unfortunately, we don't supply radar information all the time, but I've tuned into that at home.
They have to deal, though, with your saying that we're having more rain tomorrow.
More rain tomorrow, but we're backing off a little bit on the timing of it. I think we were talking about rain developing tonight, but the system's moving a little bit slower, so it'll be slower moving in and slower moving out. What the heck?
What the heck?
First thing did happen, though, last night. The first official snowflake of the season, 11:23 p.m. We all stood outside and waited for that and watched for it. And now that that's over with, we'll have to wait for our first 1-inch accumulation, and I guess, well, that'll come sometime in November. We won't wait for it here in October. 58 degrees today, 2 degrees below the average. 36 degrees was the low, 2 degrees below the average. Kind of interesting. A trace of precipitation, that was all left over after midnight last night from the pretty good storm system that we had moved through us. On the highs today, still the real cold air out to the west. They had as much as 10 inches of snow in parts of southern Utah, and winter storm warnings up now for all the way from southeastern Idaho down through Utah and into Colorado, where they're expecting another 6 to 10 inches, depending upon where you are. Over us, a little bit of clouds. These are kind of some middle-level clouds, not really associated with any real storm system, but just producing a few light sprinkles. The real one we're watching is out to the southwest that's going to sweep eastward and then northward again, and that'll be most likely tomorrow afternoon before it begins to really affect us here locally. Some showers right now down in Iowa, a few just east of the Twin Cities, and all the blue back here in the west kind of scattered around is that winter storm that's really getting brewing back there right now. As we said, just a few light sprinkles down to the south and to the southwest of us. These have been kind of popping up from time to time and then disappearing. We don't think we'll really see much in the way of any shower activity tonight, just mostly cloudy skies, but tomorrow's going to be a different story. Our weather map for tomorrow is going to take that low pressure area and move it right up at us. So showers and thunderstorms developing along the leading edge of it. Behind it, cooler air sweeping in, but we're still going to hold the snows back out for the Dakotas and possibly northern Minnesota, at least for the next couple of days. Our high temperature map, we should see them climb highs into the 50s tomorrow over the southeastern corner of the state. And again, the real cold air is still being held pretty far back to the west of us. Our current conditions were cloudy with the winds out of the southeast at 13. The temperature is 51 degrees, 3010 with the rising barometer. Our forecast is for cloudy conditions tonight. Winds out of the southeast 15 to 25, low around 45 degrees. Tomorrow we'll be looking at cloudy, rain developing at least by afternoon with a high of around 50 degrees and the winds picking up 15 to 25 miles an hour. More rain tomorrow night with a low of 40 and then turning partly cloudy on Friday to get another little break between systems, a high of around 50 degrees. The extended forecast then calls for partly cloudy conditions on through the weekend into the first part of next week. No real heat spells, no real cold spells, 50s and 30s for our extremes.
All right, well, I've gotten used to the rain and so has Dave.
Good.
Dave who? The Nobel Prize for Chemistry was awarded today to biochemist Bruce Merrifield, the first American to receive a Nobel honor this year. Dr. Merrifield is known for his development of a procedure to build peptides, the building blocks of proteins in the laboratory. The 63-year-old scientist said he was dumbfounded to learn of his award. The Swedish Academy also announced the Nobel Prize for Physics today. It went to Carlo Robbio of Italy and Simon Vandermeer of the Netherlands for their nuclear research. Pat?
Up next in our cover story, we will look at one woman who has climbed the corporate ladder, a feat formerly reserved for men.
Modern gas furnaces keep heating costs down. That's why more Midwesterners heat with gas than with all other energies combined. Gas gives you more for your money.
Years ago at mealtime, there was always fresh homemade bread. Now, Country Hearth breads bring back the taste of the past. Made with hearty wheat and grains, buttermilk, and honey, Country Hearth breads are naturally wholesome. This week, 7 whole grain bread is on special at your favorite store. Delicious at breakfast or at any meal, Country Hearth's 7 whole grain bread. Enjoy nature's gift of goodness. Bring home the family of Country Hearth breads. Country Hearth breads, they're naturally good.
What makes me feel comfy is a candlelight dinner for 2, a close friend, and comfy radio. At AM 980, Comfy plays my favorite songs by artists like Frank Sinatra, Diana Ross, and Neil Diamond. They make me feel comfy all over. And with Andy Williams, Barbra Streisand, and Johnny Mathis, how could you help but feel comfy? Maybe that's why they call the station Comfy.
At 980 on your AM dial, Comfy.
In fact, Louise and I sang together a lot. Really? We had a very original name for our act. We called ourselves the Mills Sisters.
Why did the two of you perform?
In the John.
Oh, Louise, I know just how you feel. Ain't it nice seeing someone you love?
Love? George, I can't stand her.
The Jeffersons, Wednesday night at 10:30 on WCCO television.
The most recent statistics show that 1/4 of supervisory and managerial positions are now held by women. But are women profiting from these positions, and do they exercise real power in the workplace? Marcia Fleur is here to explore that in part 4 of our cover story on the working woman. Marcia?
Well, Pat, it seems a silly question when the majority of women are still in clerical jobs fighting for higher salaries. But the quest for power in the workplace is a big issue in the push to improve the economic status of working women. There are a lot of titles out there: office manager, executive assistant, associate administrator. At first, they have a nice ring. But do the women who own those titles have the power to hire and fire and a salary of at least $30,000?
We know that women don't have more power in the workplace. Some, yes, but we know from our wage statistics, from our earning statistics, that they aren't getting pay that means they have more powerful or more important jobs. The main complaint I hear women talking about is having titles, having, being able to move up in the organization, but not still having access to the boardroom as much as the men.
Real power. It dwells in ivy-covered institutions like the Minneapolis Club, where the Old Boys Network has been conducting business informally for years. Even this once all-male bastion has given way to women. The Women's Economic Roundtable, an exclusive group of Minnesota's top professional women, sometimes holds its monthly meetings here to talk business. One member of that elite is Deborah Howell, executive editor of the St. Paul Dispatch and Pioneer Press. She's among just a handful of women running major newspapers, rising to the top in a male-dominated field.
I underestimated how hard it was going to be. But nevertheless, this is what I was born to do.
In the early 60s, Howell learned that she would be shut out of certain jobs because she was a woman. And in those days, before the women's movement, she developed a mental toughness.
I had the sense that I was not going to be turned aside. When I was trying to get a job out of college, they wanted to put me on the women's pages. I said, no, I will not do that.
Now in charge of 200 employees and the look of the paper, she has even less tolerance for the hollow titles given some women managers.
And I don't like window dressing. I wouldn't want to be promoted because I was a woman. I don't want a job, so I say, oh, well, I got a skirt in my company.
She's known as a tough manager, but one concerned about the welfare of her workers.
My old boss, who just went to Denver, said that I was a cross between Mother Mary Deborah and the Dragon Lady. I think that's pretty accurate. I can be both.
And in a more serious vein, she thinks companies would do well to have more women in management.
I think women bring a whole special thing of their own to management, and that's good. And that we will be making a big mistake if we try to leave the fact we're women behind. I don't want to be just like a man.
Experts who teach women managers to be more effective say companies which fail to give women more power are going to be the big losers.
So those women who are bright, aggressive, and smart, and entrepreneurial are leaving organizations in higher numbers than ever before. The statistics, I think, are in the period between 1980 and 1982, women were leaving organizations at a rate of 10 times that men are to start their own businesses.
But even the women managers who have toughed it out and made it in the corporate world feel more pressure than their male peers.
Women will be judged by how well I do. And so I have a real feeling of, Deborah, don't screw this up.
Tomorrow we'll wrap up our cover story on working women with a look into the future. We'll study a couple of issues that could affect working women and their families for many years to come. And we'll address the issue of the so-called pink-collar ghetto, that is, all those clerical jobs that most women do.
All right, interesting. Thank you very much, Marcia. Dave?
Friday night football on Wednesday in Minnesota. Mark Rosen and the scores in a moment on the 10 p.m. report.
Bill's business is as complex as any on earth. He projects earnings in a rapidly fluctuating market. When he needs credit, he uses a specialist.
Hi, Tom. Listen, I've got a question for you.
One whose only business is financing his business.
Well,
I think we can do it.
When you need agricultural business loans, see the specialists at the Federal Land Bank and Production Credit Association. Both are part of Farm Credit Services.
Switch this month to the new AM country music station WDGY. Because every day from now through November 15th, WDGY is giving away $100 an hour, every hour between 6 a.m. and midnight. AM 1130, the new WDGY. Music to your ears and money in your pocket.
At MedCenter's health plan, we have a medicine so powerful it can prevent illness before it strikes. So concentrated, a single dose can last a lifetime. So effective, it can cure everything from overweight to smoking to stress. We call it health education. With MedCenters, you get more than high-quality medical care. You also get the widest range of health education programs in the Twin Cities area. MedCenter's health plan, where you don't have to be sick to get better.
Every day, BMW presents a comprehensive report on the state of automotive technology. Not through some dry dissertation or the theoretical vacuum of a laboratory, but through a more appropriate vehicle, the BMW 733i, the luxury sedan that translates the intricacies of technology into that elusive commodity called fun.
Contact your Minneapolis-St. Paul area BMW dealer for a thorough test drive.
You'd have to go back many, many years to find such an extreme reversal in fortunes as Patrick Henry has demonstrated this year.
Dave, here's a team that was 0-9 last season. They suited up just 29 players for their football team. This is the way you like high school football to be. Henry capped its Cinderella season tonight with a 22-21 win over Roosevelt, good for the city championship. Late in the third quarter, Roosevelt's Jerry Smith ripped off a 15-yard run to the goal line. He scored in the next play, and the Teddies led 21-14. Henry had won only 4 games in the past 3 years, so they are used to playing from behind. At this time, Blaine Williams' plunge pulled the Patriots to within 21-20 late in the fourth quarter. Henry lined up for the sure thing, a 1-point conversion, but fooled everyone by going for 2. The pass was good, and Henry won 22-21. After the game, quarterback Stacy Jameson explained the difference between this season and last.
We stayed together more this year. This year, we played together as a team. We didn't get down on each other. Last year, we couldn't stay together. It was more individual. This year was a team.
What you gonna do to celebrate tonight?
I'm gonna go home and go to bed.
In Richfield tonight, another major upset. The 10th-ranked Spartans of Richfield knocked off second-ranked Wayzata 7-6. Dave Schrick set up Richfield's lone touchdown with his 15-yard strike to Keith Kispert in the first quarter. Moments later, fullback Randy Johnson slammed into the end zone, 7-0 Spartans. Now, Wayzata countered midway through the fourth quarter on this play. John Hines takes the handoff and sprints 15 yards through the heart of the Richfield defense into the end zone, 7-6 Spartans. Wayzata then faked the extra point there, and they went for the 2-point conversion, but quarterback Dave Lund's pass was off target, and Richfield's defense holds off Wayzata the rest of the way for that 7-6 win. Well, let's check all the high school football scores tonight. Elk River over Ramsey. It was Edison defeating Southwest. Hill Murray shut out Highland Park. Johnson did the same to Humboldt. South over Washburn. Cooper has defeated North 13-6. Shakopee edged Mound. Centennial rolls over Minnehaha Academy. Number 8th ranked Jefferson defeated Burnsville. Coon Rapids number 1 in the state over Columbia Heights. White Bear Lake easily over Rochester Mayo. Osseo defeated Armstrong. Woodbury by 7 over South St. Paul. Spring Lake Park defeated Mounds View. Stillwater rolled over North St. Paul. Rosemount over Lakeville 28-14. This is Class A. Farmington 17-0 over Matamidi. Owatonna over Mankato West. Number 3 ranked Kellogg in AA over Anoka 12-8. Irondale over Fridley. St. Thomas over Central 44-8. Forest Lake shut out Blaine. Eden Prairie over Waconia. Sibley defeated Hastings 25-14. And it was Cretin 25, Como Park 7. Well, it should be an interesting matchup in the Met Sports Center tomorrow night when the North Stars play host to the defending champion Edmonton Oilers. The Stars have the hottest goaltender the first week of the NHL season. Donnie Beaupre, the 23-year-old, has stopped 88 of 91 shots for a 0.99 goals against average. He'll be severely tested by this man, Wayne Gretzky, who already has 9 points in 4 games. He has 3 of the 23 Oiler goals. Edmonton is 3-0-1 for 7 points. The Stars are 2-1, but they have scored just 6 goals. The Oilers will be at the Met just twice this season. Now tonight in the National Hockey League, St. Louis and Chicago played to a 2-all. That's 2-all in the third period. Hartford has defeated Toronto 5-3. The Islanders over Detroit 6-4. Quebec over Buffalo 4-1. Pittsburgh has defeated Vancouver 4-3. And Calgary leading Winnipeg 5-1 in the third period. And Jim Fry of the Chicago Cubs won an award that I'm sure he'd trade for one more victory. Fry was named National League Manager of the Year today. He edged Dave Johnson of the Mets, Dick Williams of San Diego, and I certainly hope that Billy Gardner is named American League Manager of the Year on Friday when that award is given.
The Fry Award is a consolation prize
isn't
that
that
amounts
awful?
to. Yeah, it's like getting the 7-Up cooler for getting the prize pin. Given the high degree of transiency in our business, it's a wonder it doesn't happen more often. Today, it happened to our Marcia Fleur, who once worked for another local station.
And that's what it's going to go back to on October 21st. This is Marcia Fleur, Channel 5 Eyewitness News. Channel 5!
No wonder the poor girl's confused. The dummies still have her picture up on their bus cards. Thank you, and good night.